Hey, it's Jeff Zito, and thanks for checking out another episode of the Celebrity Jobber Podcast, one of Apple Podcasts' top shows on their music podcast charts. Please subscribe. Would love for you to give a 5-star rating and leave a review. You can check out past episodes up on celebrityjobber.com. You can follow on Instagram, celebrityjobber_podcast, and youtube.com/the@celebrityjobber. What if some of these celebrities didn't have their big break? What would they be doing? What would my next guest be doing if not becoming a huge star in the 80s? Known as the Queen of Percussion with songs like A Love Bazaar and The Glamorous Life. Shelia E also became a member of Prince's band and had a huge, successful career as a musician. But what about now? What's Shelia E up to these days? And what if not for her big break? What might she be doing? What did she aspire to do before wanting to get into music? What was her first job? Sheila Cecilia Escovedo, a.k.a. Shelia E. She's my guest this week on Celebrity Jobber.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, give a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Check out all our past episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. What if these celebrities weren't famous? What would they have become? What was their first job? We're about to find out.
Shelia E. in a Lifetime movie, Nobody Dumps My Daughter. This is what you're doing nowadays. Well, how did this all happen?
It's I spoke with the director, Stan Brooks. He called me. My agent gave it to me and said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not sure," because of the fact that my character is. They were asking me to be a tarot card reader / healer. And I don't know anything about it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really believe in that, so yeah, I don't want to do that. And
right.
The director, Stan, called, and he spoke with me and, and talked to me, and I said no like 2 or 3 times, but then once we talked through everything, and then he told me it was a true story, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. They sent me the script, and I went, yeah, okay, let me just do it. We shot it in Canada, and the cast and the crew, everyone was very kind to me because this is not what I do, but very interesting story. And I do play the healer, tarot card reader. Yeah, that's how it came about.
So tell me about acting. Has that always been a part of your life? Is it new?
No, it's new. I mean, I've only done a few things. I did a movie, Crush Groove, back in the day in 1986.
I saw it.
Yeah, but that was, a long time ago. I've done 1 or 2 things since then. So, but Lifetime movie for television, this is first. This is the first.
That's cool. So it just kind of fell in your lap. You got a call out of the blue. This is nothing that you were pursuing, and this just kind of happened for you. Tell me a little bit about music, and tell me about how you got involved with music. Is it in your family? It is in your family, isn't it?
Yeah, my dad, the legendary Pete Escovedo, my dad is a Latin jazz artist, and his brothers also performed and played music, and we just grew up in that environment of playing music and, ended up meeting so many different musicians throughout our lives that would come to hang out with my dad and my uncles, and it became a part of my life. My 2 brothers, they play as well, and we have cousins that play. I still have some uncles that perform and play, and not everyone are percussion players. Most are, but my other uncle, Alejandro, a very famous guitar songstress, poet, he's a storyteller. He's an incredible artist as well. He does really well. So, yeah, it's in the family.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito.
The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. People say it's the thought that counts, which means you're about to get a really bad gift. But what if the gift is just so thoughtful? like an LED self-watering multi-herb garden. For that friend of yours that loves to cook but does not have a green thumb. Or maybe a karaoke microphone speaker. Bluetooth hook up to your phone and perform karaoke anywhere you want to. Perfect for that friend or family member that requires a little too much attention. Uncommon Goods, the coolest finds for kids and everyone from book lovers to diehard sports fans. Not the same old selections you can find just anywhere. Plus, with every purchase, Uncommon Goods gives back $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. And to date, they've donated more than $3 million. Get 15% off your next gift. Go to uncommongoods.com/jobber. That's uncommongoods.com/jobber. 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito.
I could imagine, I could guess what your big break was professionally, but I'm not going to guess. I'm going to ask you to tell us what made your life change overnight, or if it wasn't an overnight change because you've been working hard as a musician. Like you said, your family, your father, legendary. What changed for you? Was there a particular moment, a big break that changed everything for you?
Well, definitely I wasn't going to be a musician, that even though I loved music and growing up in that environment was amazing. But no, I was training to be an athlete. My mom is an athlete, and all of her brothers, she had 8 brothers and sisters, and so I wanted to be an athlete. I was running track as well as playing soccer on a undefeated women's team. I broke records in track and field, sprint runner, and that's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
So I was training to be in the Olympics, and even though I love music, I sat in with this band. First time ever auditioning at 14, 15 years old, and they were playing Santana music, and my dad was in Santana at the time. So
oh, wow.
I was like, Dad, I play drums. I had never played drums before, but I played in that band. That became, oh yeah, this is really cool, and switched over to percussion. And then my dad's percussion player got sick. And so at 15, I said, look, and they were signed to Clive Davis at the time and touring with Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I just said, I can play percussion, the other percussion instrument with my dad. It's like, I can play the songs. I know everything. They had an album out and doing well on CBS, and so anyway, I played that one show. That changed my life.
Wow.
That night, playing with my dad with an 18-piece band. And that was the beginning. 2 weeks later, going out on tour with my dad and never looked back.
Wow. Now, obviously, I thought you were going to mention Prince. And that is cool because he didn't change your life. You had an actual life-changing moment where you became kind of, known and put and thrust into the spotlight before you met him. But tell us a little bit about Prince and how you met him and working with him.
Well, I met him in 77, I think, 77 or 78. It was right before his first record, because my dad was with Santana. Prince came to the Bay Area, to San Francisco, Oakland, to be in the same studio that Sly and Carlos Santana recorded in, because he was fans of theirs and loved, influenced by them very much so. And so he came to the Bay to do his record, and that's when my dad actually saw them, because they were in the studio next door, and said, wow, this young kid is, recording in the studio, and he's actually playing all the instruments and kind of producing it. And I was like, really, what's his name? His name is Prince. I was like, oh, maybe I can meet him,
Right.
It didn't happen like that, but while he was there in the Bay Area, I met him, and we became friends. And that was the beginning of right before his record came out, and we had been friends, for a lifetime.
Really? So you guys met well before he blew up and got famous. When did you start actually working with him, though?
Working with him, I would say maybe 83.
Okay.
83. We would jam. Yeah, when we first met, he came over to my house and we jammed. It was the first time we played together. Was when I first met him, and I said, "Well, I have gear at my house. I'd come over and hang out and play." So we would jam and play at my house. But yeah, I didn't start recording officially, I think, until 83.
What was it about him, Shelia E? Women usually like manly men, big burly guys, macho alphas. He was different. He was smaller. He wore lace. What was it about Prince that women they melted over? What was it about him?
I don't know. I can't say that every woman loves a burly guy because every woman loves different things. So it's not a general question or answer. But I mean, for me, musically is what attracted me. He's amazing. He's a genius. He was a genius and amazing in how he would write songs that were completely different, but still you would know that it was a Prince song. And he's just one of my favorite guitar players ever. So, yeah, he was a great musician.
Yeah, one of my favorite guitar players ever, too, and I think in tremendously underrated.
Celebrity Jobber. The Celebrity Jobber podcast with Jeff Zito.
Back to you, Shelia E. I'm so glad that you were saying to me, hey, I wanted to be a professional athlete. I was a star track runner, because I had no idea about that in your life. Can you tell me what your very first job was?
I've never had a job.
Whoa, she's blowing my mind right now. You never worked at the mall. You never delivered a newspaper, babysat a kid. You never had a job other than, I mean, being a percussionist is a job. There was a
Jerry Lewis telethon. I mean, that was the only time, like, my brothers and I tried to raise money for the Jerry Lewis telethon. One time my friend, they were working at the mall in a clothing store, but they needed help. I went over there. I didn't know how to do that, but it wasn't like a job. I did it one time for a couple of hours. My life has been in music.
That is so cool.
And it's not really a job. I mean, the only job that I have is to bless one person every day. So what I do for a living is not work. It is a gift, and my gift is to be able to give back to people.
That's pretty cool. I think it was only like one other guy. I think it was John Oates from Hall & Oates. He said he never had a job other than being in music. That was it. And then he backtracked and said, "Oh yeah, I did work at a greenhouse and got fired an hour later." So even he had a first job. But your first job was just music, being paid for performing.
Yeah, that's it.
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about you think you're gonna these days. So these jobs these days, or what you're doing these days. Performing, obviously, you are acting. Do you have plans to do another movie or anything?
Not plans to, but I would love to. Yeah, I want to dive into it a little bit more. So I'm very much interested in that. And right now, I mean, with all that I'm doing, I'm still out on tour, but I released my first ever salsa record called Bailar, which is pretty amazing, and all the special guests. And that was something that took like a couple of years on my bucket list, but it finally got done. And everyone involved in it had, given so much musically. I recorded it in Miami, most of it. But I have like Ruben Blades and Luis Enrique, my dad, Gloria Stefan, so many amazing artists, and some people I've never met before. It's an amazing project, and it's doing really well. So those of you who haven't, salsa music is different from Latin jazz, and if, you want to listen to it, it's out on all streaming, as well as I'm dropping another new record. On the flip side, it's a funk, I don't know, it's a mixture of a little bit of everything. I'm playing drums on everything, and it's called Shelia E and the E Train, and we're releasing the album this week as well. So we have a lot going on.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. Celebrity Jobber.
Such a successful career and a long career. You ever thought about man, what if this all didn't happen? What would I be doing? Have you ever thought about that? Or has this just been such a part of your life, your whole life, that you haven't even thought about anything like that? Because this is a dream, This doesn't happen to everybody.
No, I mean, again, I was training to be in the Olympics. I'm an athlete. I still love sports. I love sports and music, and those two hand in hand. And what I do for a living, making music and creating, is such a gift, but at the same time, it's very taxing as an athlete. So the two work well together. I don't think that I'd be able to do it if I wasn't an athlete. But yeah, I mean, to be able to create, and like first time ever doing a salsa record, that's not in my wheelhouse. I get to do things that I've never done before, and and putting out records. And I have 2 new videos coming out. I mean, the new video Playa Tequila from the salsa record just came out, and then the new video for Shelia E, and it features Too Short and Trombone Shorty, and that's coming out this week. So to create and collaborate with other people, I mean, I have the best of both worlds.
And Nobody Dumps My Daughter is the name of the Lifetime original movie. So glad I got an opportunity to speak with you. A big fan, and thanks for taking the time to speak with me today.
Great. Thank you so much.
Take care. Can you believe that? She never had a job. One time she volunteered for a Jerry Lewis telethon when she was at the mall, but it was just a couple hours of work. She intended on training for the Olympics and being an Olympian. She was on an undefeated women's soccer team and excelled and broke many records in track and field. So Shelia E always wanted to be an athlete and aspired to be in the Olympics. I thought that was crazy. Never heard of that. Now, her pedigree is from a musical family. Her father, Pete Escovedo, actually owned his own nightclub in the late 90s in Berkeley, California called Mr. E's. But way back when, Peter formed the Escovedo Brothers Latin Jazz Sextet before he and his brother joined the group Santana. And I thought it was pretty crazy that she said her big break actually came while playing on stage with her father. And it wasn't being a member of Prince's band, which didn't hurt, actually. Talked a little bit about Prince and him being such a musical genius. I wish I went a little deeper into Prince. I'm such a huge fan of Prince. I know she had a relationship with Prince, not only friends, like she mentioned, but also a romantic relationship. If you're a big fan of Prince, my friend from way back when, Dana Marshall, has a podcast called My Prince Story. A really good one you can check out at myprincepodcast.com. Shelia E constantly touring and putting out new albums, and also in the new Lifetime movie, Nobody Dumps My Daughter. As of right now, she doesn't have any plans of being in any other movies, but definitely something that she would like to pursue. If not for that fateful night on stage performing with her father, who knows? Shelia E could have been on the U.S. women's soccer team or a sprinter in the Olympics. You just never know. What if that big break never happened for Shelia E? And thank you so much for checking out another episode of the Celebrity Jobber podcast. You can check out past episodes on CelebrityJobber.com. One of the top shows on the Apple Podcast Music Podcast charts. You can go to YouTube.com/the@CelebrityJobber or follow on Instagram, CelebrityJobber_podcast. And please subscribe. Would love a 5-star rating and leave a review. Thanks so much for checking out another episode. And until next week on the Celebrity Jobber podcast, we'll see you then. I'm Jeff Zito.